All right. We need a little music when we're on our starting soon screen, but now we're ready to go. Hello, David Danto. Let's zoom in here. And let's see, I have a trick. Let's see if this works. Uh, hey!
Ah, good one.
The latest person who talks in YouTube pops up. Oh, when I press the button. That's good. I want to make more use of that. Now you can hear us. All right. Well, welcome to the live stream. It's good to be back. We've missed a few weeks. I've been traveling. We've all been busy. Before we get into the topic, just a little news I have, and I know David also has, I saw on LinkedIn, um, an EPOS Adept E1. I recorded my unboxing review yesterday. I'm going to publish it today. And I think a lot of it you'll expect. I mean, EPOS, the brand name, the quality is going to be there, expected features. But I did find one feature that I bet no one else found. EPOS didn't even mention this in any of their marketing. Should I spoil it? I'm going to spoil it. I'm going to spoil it. So headsets, Bluetooth headsets have about 150 milliseconds of latency. And some of these have a proprietary dongle. Mine's dongled, but there's a dongle, and that goes directly to the PC, and that's usually better, about 70, 80 milliseconds. This thing's under 30 milliseconds. I think
Wow.
it is the fastest by a factor of, I think it's twice as fast as the competition. I suspected it might be because they have a previous model, a gaming model, that was meant to be low latency for gaming. And I'm judging this by my ears. Can my ears really hear 30 milliseconds? I think so. If anyone has a test out there that could do it scientifically, I want to see it because I really think this is the lowest latency, which doesn't matter to a lot of people. But if it does matter to you, you know. Um, Other news. Sorry, Tim, I'm talking a lot. I'm excited. Let me zoom in here. All right, this is big news in three ways. First of all, it's the big Stream Deck, um, which is
Can
big.
I
I
have your
have it.
smaller one then, David? Can you post that to me? Because I need to get one of these myself.
I'm going to explain it in a minute. Danto says for gaming and for music. For music, if I'm using other earbuds, I try to play guitar with it and I strum, and then a tenth of a second later, it comes back and I can't play. Even 70 milliseconds sounds, oh, 70 milliseconds, you're such a professional. No, really, you can't play with it. 30, you can play with it. That's the threshold for me. So musicians, these are the only earbuds you could. Okay, anyway, back to this. The bigger news is Elgato noticed me and thinks I'm pretty. I love this company. I should be getting a commission. A client of mine last week had me build a home studio set up. They're like, I want to do all the tricks that you could do when you press the buttons. So I went right to Elgato and I recommended a bundle. They're getting the Elgato Lite, the Elgato Stream Deck, a bunch of stuff. But I posted on LinkedIn I've been doing a lot of tutorials. I want to bring them into the business world. And someone from Elgato said, sounds like you need the big one. I'm like, yeah, I do. So they sent it to me because I'm a fancy influencer. And I'm going to do an unboxing video. But the cool thing is, so what am I doing with my little Stream Deck? The little Stream Deck, I have it set up now so each of the buttons changes the profile on the big Stream Deck. So the big Stream Deck, I have it full, all 32 buttons. There's a zoom profile of share screen, mute, let participants in, blah, blah, blah. I press a button on the little Stream Deck, it switches to, all the buttons switch. It's so cool. It switches to the zoom profile. I press a button to another button on the little Stream Deck, it switches to my DaVinci for my video editing. I switch another one, it switches to what it is now, the Tim Stream. I have a Tim Stream set up on the big Stream Deck. So, which has, of course, this button on it. So I'm using the little one to control the big one. I'm having so much fun. It's so cool. All right. So on to our topic. Enterprise Connect was all about agentic AI, and you created a Zoom doc, which we were talking about ideas for the show. And I'm fascinated by your take on this. Is that we're was it overshooting our skis? This is some expression over
Yeah, well, I sort
skiing
of
our
turned around and
slopes.
said we've got this unrealistic optimism and expectation of AI. And I think we're getting to the stage of realistic pessimism now, as we start thinking, oh, it can do this and this and this. Oh, this is what I need to do to sort it out. So I think we're going through this period now of this realization that, oh, I can't just switch it on, point AI at all of my data and it's going to work it all out and solve all my problems for me. And I can get rid of all of these agents and we're going to be very productive and it's all going to sort everything out for me. So I think we're in that sort of area now where we're in this sort of real world pessimism around AI at the moment. But we'll see what people's perspectives are, and we'll talk about that in a little while.
Yeah, it's really confusing because there are examples of where it is doing things just as promised, the magic, wonderful future stuff. But there's a lot of stuff where it's going. We've been watching demos for 2 years now of what's coming next month, and it's still not there yet, and it's still in demos, and like the technology is kind of there. It should be working by now, but it seems it really is hard to separate the hype from what isn't going to work yet from what will never ever work.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we see these demos and they are obviously in staged environments. They're on the stage. Some vendors out there will have 6 or 7 or 8 different laptops to make sure that their demo doesn't stall or fail. But the real world examples, there's not that many of them. There's no one that said, you know what, we finally got there after a year of sorting out all of our data and dealing with all the teething problems. We're at a point now where AI is being really successful for us. So I think, I didn't go to Enterprise Connect. I was watching from the sidelines, but for me, it really focused on leveraging AI to sort of enhance collaboration, automate tasks through Agentic, and then improve those sort of user interactions and customer experience. And I think those were really my key top takeaways from the event. There's this AI integration across all the different platforms. So there are all the sorts of usual features that you'll see, like meeting summaries and meeting transcriptions and ways in which AI can improve the user experience and customer experience with AI agents and assistants. There was a lot going on there. I don't know if there's anything specifically you want to call out there, David, but I'd love to know how long it was that Eric walked on stage and mentioned AI. I reckon it was probably within the first 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah, it probably as he was walking up. It definitely was all about AI, and in my mind, there's two. There's AI for everything, but there's two big uses of AI that we've talked about at the show that are interesting to us. One is contact center AI stuff, which is a big barrel of stuff. I mean, it's from having it give little suggestions in a panel to actually be a virtual agent that gives the person the tickets, handles the reservation, gives them the refund. But that a lot of that makes me think of what you were just saying a few minutes ago. We've been seeing demos in that for a few years. How many customers actually have this in place? Or are we just seeing them at the trade shows over? Because it's very compelling demos. I'm like, oh, get me that. For years I've been saying, whenever I get a virtual agent, no, give me a human, give me a human. Now I'm like, actually, I think I prefer these virtual agents to the human. They're really getting good in the demos, but I don't know if it's real yet. And sorry, and I have there's another one, but I want to hear your comments on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, in the contact center space, customer experience space, that is where there's a demonstrable ROI. If you can shave all of that time it takes to sort of listen to an agent and score them, for example, as a supervisor, if that can all be done with a level playing field with AI and making the score as to were they empathetic, did they say everything that they needed to say, was there dead air time with silence in between, all of that can be scored and rated, all done behind the scenes without any intervention from the supervisor. There's a monetary value to that. You're saving time with supervisors' time. Agents with auto completion and auto summary and all of those wrap up notes they used to have to fill in themselves. If that's done by AI, there's demonstrable time saved there. So that all maps to a return on investment. Very difficult in the user experience side, the back office side, where people are saying, oh, it saves me 15 minutes a week. Well, what sort of meaningful work can you do inside of 15 minutes? You might get 2 extra cups of coffee a week out of that. It's very difficult to map an ROI on that. So we are seeing some great moves forward, primarily in the customer experience, customer engagement side, but maybe not so much in the rest of the business. And of course, there's all different sorts of licensing models. There's all sorts of different sorts of integration. There's some people charging $30 per user per month. Some are giving it, I wouldn't say away for free, but included at no extra charge. There's all of this taking place. And I think it must be very difficult if you're on the buy side trying to work through all of this.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember three things at once now. My brain is not that it's not that good at it. But yeah, the agentic stuff is compelling. It's not just the ROI, the time savings, but the better experience, the sentiment analysis stuff really gets me. When the AI bots is like, this customer said they're happy, they're not happy. You better give them more stuff. I really that really, and again, I've seen it in demos and demos and demos. I don't know if it's real yet, but it's just so compelling. David Danto has a comment. You know what I need to do is make the text actually come up. That'd be great. But yeah, we used to be a special industry. We were the only industry that, as he said, connects people for effective collaboration along long distances. And now we're just one of the AI industries. We're just another industry that just has AI all over everything. It is true. But okay, so that's the second thing I was going to remember what David said. The first thing was a comment. The third thing was, so the two ways that I'm excited about AI, or all the AI that we're seeing, the two things that matter to me from what I saw in Enterprise Connected AI. One was the contact center stuff, which I love, but I need to, like you, I need to be convinced that it's real. And the other is how we're going to use it in UC. And a lot of it is just, oh my God, we're throwing it at everything. But there are some compelling uses, and it is the agentic stuff. And I hate to hop on that because that's the new buzzword and everything. But what clicked for me, I was talking to Kevin Keeler about that. All we do is talk about AI now. And we use Zoom AI Companion a lot. And we use it with Zoom docs, with chat, I always have that little panel open. And I talk to it about, if I'm in my email, I talked about my email. How is this email? Any red flags? What do you think? And it's always telling me what I should do. I have a plan for the live stream this year with Tim, and it'll say, oh, you should reach out to Tim and talk to him about this. Oh, you should put this in your calendar so you have time to work on this. Well, why don't you do it? You're AI companion. You work for me. Why is it always telling me what to? Oh, you should put a calendar entry for this. You should set a meeting for this. You should create a document for this. I should. You should do all that stuff. And with Agentic, it will do, not yet. We're still in that land of promises, but I believe they'll be able to do this. This isn't, a huge leap from the technology we have. And it makes sense. Just, it's not like, we don't really need to. There's a lot of technology we get that, come on, man, we don't need that. But this, of course, we'll use this.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, Zoom's Agentic AI, that sort of had the intelligent task performing agents that you can integrate throughout the platform. So that can be used in the front office with contact center, back office. The ability for you to be able to get AI to go off and perform tasks and make decisions and interact with everyone, I think is really great, because it's focused on outcomes. It's not just about, let me transcribe this meeting for you and give you a summary. Well, that's fantastic. What if you transcribe that summary, check for the key points, put all of the things to do in a Zoom doc, put the meeting summary as the agenda for the calendar request when David and Tim are next available. All of that stuff is great. Now, that to me is like an automated executive assistant. Nice. When you made it in an industry, when you've got an executive assistant and they can just do everything for you, well, everyone gets an executive assistant now. We just call it Agentic.
Yeah. And if, it hallucinates, it's not perfect, you have to double check its work. Okay, so it's not $100,000 executive assistant, it's a $40,000 a year executive assistant. You know what I mean? It's still really valuable. I mean, I want it now. And yeah. People at Zoom kind of have it. They keep saying that we're testing this, we're using this. I'm like, oh, come on, when are you gonna give me some of that agentic stuff?
Well, that's where I start getting excited, where that workflow is automated, because you've got so many different workloads. You've got email coming in, you've got chat coming in. You don't know how to prioritize things. I don't know if someone's waiting on some information from me that they need, that they can then pass on to a customer. So there's no prioritization. It's first in, first out. So anything that can help me prioritize and work out what I need to do next, I think is fantastic. I'd love to know, someone needs me to finish this so that they can go up the chain and give this to a customer, or they need to finish this report off based on the information that I haven't provided yet, so that needs to pop to the front of my work queue. All of that sort of stuff will help you streamline operations, and I guess that's what we refer to as agentic, or that potential is sort of agentic AI.
Yeah, I think you just came up with a new product idea for Zoom, because they have Zoom Tasks. They're using it. We don't have it yet, but they're using it. But I don't know if Zoom Tasks my Zoom task can tie to your Zoom task if it's a dependency. Like if I have a project, but I can't do it until you give me the data, I don't know if my Zoom task can talk to your Zoom task because that would be team Zoom tasks. If they're not working on it, they should. They're probably working on it, but that would be. And Zoom tasks is fun, by the way, because Zoom tasks, it's, I guess you call it agentic because it's reasoning and doing it autonomously. It goes through your meeting summaries, it goes through your emails, it goes through your whatever to find to dos. So anytime I'm talking to anyone from Zoom, I say, oh, don't forget, you're going to make sure to promote all of my Zoom videos. And I know that, if it's doing its job, they're getting a Zoom task that says promote David's Zoom videos. And when it gets more agentic, that it'll do it. It won't just remind them to do it. It'll forward the links to the marketing department or whatever. Yeah. But I love the idea of being able to assign people a Zoom task just by talking to them in a meeting.
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on in this area, which I find absolutely fascinating. One of the things that I really like was going back to the boring old days of voice before we all got agentic and everyone started typing and chatting and emailing. I really like RingCentral with its Air reception. It's
Yes.
Air, the AI receptionist, which acts as a sort of virtual front desk to handle customer inquiries. So I think that was really good. If you want to know what the mailing address is or what time the store's open, or can you just quickly transfer me to David Danto or Kevin Keeler or whoever, all of that can be done automated, which I think is fascinating and really great. You can have a professional image, although it's artificial. You can have a professional image. You can turn it on 365 days a year. It doesn't go home early on a Friday. All of that information is ready to handle all those transactional queries that you get at front of house.
Yeah, we've been saying for a year and a half, this stuff is ready to be it's ready to take the wheel. It's great when everyone's using it in the contact center as kind of a whisper over the shoulder for a human agent, giving them help, giving them information, telling them what to do, sentiment analysis. Let it sit in the seat. And we've been saying it's ready. And I'm like, where's the examples of this? Here's a good example of it. And it works.
Yeah. I think the only thing, what I wonder now is whether or not we'll see a flip next year as people start using Agentic for workflow. And then, we can see people ironing out some of the teething issues, the initial install issues around the contact center, because we spoke earlier around organizations needing to collect their data. You've got zero-party data from badge scans at Enterprise Connect, for example, or the names and addresses that you've got in various databases, apps, CRM, email, PDFs, all of that sort of stuff. You've got first, second, or third-party data that you've got to integrate in a certain way. So you've got all of these databases, all of this stuff which can conflict. Has Tim's job title changed? Has his telephone number changed? Has his home shipping address changed? So you need to clean, optimize, and structure all that data with extract, transform, and load capabilities. You need to make it accessible. You need to make sure that it's compliant, secure, and private. Essentially, you need a customer data platform or a data warehouse to sort of sort all of that out. And then you can point AI at all of that. And then you can get some meaningful outcomes as a result of it. But there is that large stepping stone to try and sanitize, clean, scrub, rationalize, and structure in some cases that data before AI can do anything actionable on it. And if you're a large organization with multiple PDFs, multiple Word documents, storing all of this stuff everywhere, you're going to have some stuff that you'll find out needs updating or is out of date or isn't viable or valid. There's a lot of work to be done. So I have a feeling we're going through that sort of awareness now. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done first.
Yeah, I think we're kind of glazing over a lot of stuff. Like, oh, just ask the AI bot; it'll do everything. But there's a lot of heavy lifting that we need to do to make sure it's gonna, going to work for us and be secure.
David, it reminds me of the days of IP telephony. When we went from digital PBXs, these great big whirring filing cabinets in the bottom of basements, to everything on a server. We then realized, oh, well, I just connect it up to my data network. And then it's, oh, well, what about jitter? What about delay? What about latency? What about, let's put some quas on the network. Let's update all of our routers and switches. let's get rid of all these phones and buy IP phones. There's a lot of infrastructure stuff that needs to take place first. And I really feel that that data infrastructure is going to be a focus area before we really get to getting the most out of AI.
Oh, speaking of infrastructure, I'm going to totally hijack the conversation. There's still more I want to talk about in Enterprise Connect, and we're going long, so we'll wrap this up. But I have to talk about the NVIDIA CEO speech keynote. Kevin linked it. I'm like, I'm not watching this 2 hours. I watched it. It was amazing. There was so much to get out of it. But one of the big things is, he was talking about building AI factories. And I'm like, AI factory, what does that mean? And we always talk about how this AI is going to have to run on all these servers. They're building all these server farms everywhere. They're bringing back 3 Mile Island to get nuclear power for these server farms. They're doing all this stuff. But why? These server farms weren't built for this. They were built for Zoom. They're built for what we're doing. They're built for YouTube. They're built for everything else. They're not efficient for it. They're not designed for it. If there were server farms where everything's designed specifically for AI, from the racks to the cables, there was this cable that used to be $1,000 cable, and now it doesn't need to be there. It'll be so much more efficient and run so much better. And NVIDIA is partnering with Cisco. Oh my God, Cisco. Bravo to our friends at Cisco, because wow, there are going to be these massive facilities built using a lot of Cisco gear and a lot of NVIDIA gear to power this. It's not. I was naive. I was thinking, oh yeah, they're just going to put it on the whatever Microsoft Azure, whatever servers we got. No, they're building factories.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, the other area to explore as well with infrastructure is AI at the edge. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of AI capabilities built into edge equipment. It's not necessarily all going to go up it's not going to trombone up to a data center and back down all the time. There's going to be a lot of local processing. There's going to be a lot of processing on the devices itself. From a simple example, using Otter AI on my iPhone, I can record a meeting and it can give me a transcription of the meeting very accurately and a good summary. So I don't necessarily have to go online and speak to someone. I can be in the same room, put down my iPhone, start up Otter AI, and I can have a face-to-face without, the likes of going through a UC service. So there's lots that's going to take place.
I have an example of that. At Enterprise Connect, I was at the Aber booth, and they were showing their new video bar, and it has all this computer power inside. I'm like, well, what are you running on it? And like, we're actually not really doing much with it right now, but we just know that there's going to be AI applications that are going to take a lot of power, and we want to future-proof this thing. So the video bar that they're putting out today, it's actually being made for, what's coming, what you said is coming, which is AI on the edge.
And there's lots of UC vendors that are now realizing that you don't necessarily have to have, if you want to have a one-to-one meeting or a physical meeting in the office, you can utilize all the stuff in the room without having to fire up a UCaaS service. All of that processing, all of that meeting summary can be done in the physical room, and you don't need to have to all be on a service. You're all local. All that processing is done locally without any intervention from any UCaaS service.
Oh, here's a perfect example. Going back to Enterprise Connect, something from the Microsoft keynote that would take a lot of processing power and that you probably want to have on the edge. And it's Microsoft Facilitator, which I love the idea of this. We've been talking, oh my God, a video evangelist. We've been talking since the beginning of time about how if you're in a meeting room like this, if you're calling on the phone, you might as well be under the table, right? If you're in a meeting room like this, would you go under the table and say, I'll be more effective this way. I prefer voice over video, over visual. So I'm going to sit under the table. No, you get it. You sit in your seat and you could look at people. So the idea of being on the phone when you could be on video, you're missing so much. Our AI is on the phone, basically, right? What do you open Otter on your phone, or your Copilot, it's just listening, or Zoom meeting summaries is just listening. It's sitting under the table. So what if your AI, obviously Facilitator is a Copilot thing, there's so many Copilots, it's able to look through my webcam or my meeting room camera and look into the room and understand, which cope. You know, I can't upload a video to. I'd love to upload my YouTube videos to ChatGPT and say write my summaries for me. I can't do that. It doesn't understand videos. It understands images. So it understands video, and it understands it agentically with reason. It's like talking to a person. So the example they gave was someone walked into the room with a big water bottle, and the co-pilot facilitator was like, "Oh, Susie, nice big glass of water. Good job hydrating." You know, it was commenting on people's appearance. They have to tell it to stop doing it. You know, David, you're not using enough product on your hair. You're looking kind of frizzy there. I mean, it's and those are dumb examples, but there are good examples of, well, there's a reason. Why do we show up to the meeting room? So the idea of and the way it ties into what we're talking about is, you know, do we want all that going up and down to servers somewhere? We want to, you know, use all that bandwidth. We want to use all that processing power. Do we want it on the edge? We want the video bar to be doing that thinking.
Yeah. So lots of exciting developments, some real time, these unrealistic optimism and expectation of AI. You know, I think we've gone over that hump. We're in this real world pessimism of implementing the stuff, but it's certainly an exciting future. And I'm looking forward to seeing what next year brings as well.
One last thing that, just because everyone seems to like this, I don't want to fail to mention it, was the German translation in real time with Snorri's real voice. You know, Cisco and Microsoft are now besties, which is great. They guested in each other's keynotes, and Ilya was talking to Snorri, and Snorri started talking in German, and it translated to English, but it wasn't, you know, this is what he is saying in English now. It was his, and we all know him. We all know his voice, and there wasn't people saying that doesn't sound like him. Everyone's like, oh wow, it was his voice in English. And of course, there's a little bit of delay because he has to finish the German sentence before the AI can listen to it and translate it. But that seemed to be, you know, everyone says, what was the cool thing you saw at the show? When you ask people what was the cool thing at the show, that's what people keep saying.
Superb. Yeah. A lot of interesting things coming.
Yep. All right. I think that's good for this week. Let's wrap it up. Oh, I always forget my stream end button on my new. I have so many buttons. I can make a button for it, but I'll find it here. Here we go. And great to talk to you, Tim. And looking forward to our next stream in a couple weeks.
Superb.
Take care, everyone.